what we are going to see is a very, very important concept in QTP. Today we are going to see object repository. So very, very important concept in QTP. Okay, for QTP, everything that you see in the screen, say for example, if I go to my website, go to capture.us, anything that you see here, you have image, you have a video file here, you have an image here, you have text here, you have a drop down menu here, you have another image here, you have a link here, you have different images here. Anything that you see in the website, anything that you see in our or the application that you are going to work with, say, or example, if you take the flight reservation, anything that you see here is called an object. So for QTP, anything that you see in the application is called an object. Okay, it's a generic term that QTP uses. It's called object. Now, okay, it's called an object. Now, no matter it is a text box or it's a radio button or a button, anything is called an object. Now, each and every object is identified by a class. So the property for or the class for a text box would be different from a class for a radio button. Similarly, for the class for a button would be different. For example, for a text box, we say WinEdit. This is the class. This is for a Windows-based application. While for a web application, we'll say WebEdit. Okay. The first three letters differentiates what you wanted to use. Whether it's a Windows application, it says Win. If it's a web application, it says Web. But the edit portion is the same. Similarly, for say radio button, it's something radio dot something. I'm not very sure with this, but for a button, it is Win button. Radio button, it should be Win radio or something like that. Similarly, for a web, it should be Web button. Right? You don't need to remember these class. You don't need to remember these class. You'll get this information. I'll show you how to get this information for different buttons or different objects. Now, every object that is there, as I told you, is differentiated by a class. It has its own class. And the second one, so there are two things that object repository uses or QTP uses to identify if it's a text box. How does it identify? There are two things that it uses. It uses the class and the properties. Class and the properties. Okay. So now these are the two things that it uses. So it calls the class and the properties in order to identify this. Say for a WinEdit, right? WinEdit, that is if it's a Windows-based edit box, we say WinEdit. That's the class. And what is the property? The property value, for the property value, you use the object repository to capture the property value through QTP. So the QTP, what it does, it will identify the properties and then save it for you, and then you call the property in between these two codes. So when you say example, this property name is agent name, you call the property name here in between. So what will happen when the QTP gets executed? It knows it's the class. So the class is a WinEdit. So it knows we are referring to a text box. And what is the property for that text box? So the text box, even if you have two text boxes, say agent name and password, we have two text boxes. Again, the properties, it will differentiate by text. There is a property called text, which will have the name of the text agent name, and the other one, the name of the text will be password. So So you see different layers. QTP uses different layers in order to identify a specific object and make this object unique, so that when you say agent name, QTP knows that you are talking about this particular field, not this field. So object repository is the most important portion in our QTP. Yeah. Good.
Rajesh, the class, does it differentiate between the class and the properties? So if I have two objects that are similar, how does it differentiate it?
That's what I told you, right? If I have a property, I have a text box agent name. Okay. And I have a text box password like this.
Okay.
Like this. Right? Agent name and password. Now the class for this is a text box, right?
Yeah.
Now the class for these two text boxes are the same. It's WinEdit.
Yes.
Right? So it cannot differentiate with the class. So it goes to the properties. Now in properties, there are multiple properties that we identify for a specific object. I'm going to show you all those things. Okay, I'm just giving an overview. In that, one of the properties is called text, which will have a name in it.
Okay.
So agent name and the password. So that's how it differentiates. We're going to see all those things. You'll have a better understanding when you start seeing that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi, good morning, Rajesh. I guess I'm not sure, but I think we did go through last weekend about the agent name and password and to how to log into that.
No, that is. I just showed you a demo of how QTP works.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're going to go in. That I just showed you a recording, right? We just recorded the agent name, password, and then clicked on, and we went it, right?
Yes.
Right. Now I'm showing you how to work with it actually. That's why when you asked me a question at that time, I said, right, wait, hold on, don't go into it. When we are seeing that, we'll have a better understanding, right?
Okay.
Yeah, now is when we are looking into it.
All right, okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Fine. Now, what we are doing here, we understand the class, we have the properties, and that's how we differentiate it, right? Now, let me clean this up. Object repository. Now, object repository itself is divided into two types. It's divided into two types. One is called the local object repository. We are going to represent object repository as OR. And the second one is called the shared object repository. Okay. Now these are the two types of object repositories we have here. Now these are the two types of object repositories. Now what is the difference between a local object repository and a shared object repository? Right. Now local object repository, say example, you created a script. Right. You created a script. Now every script will have a default local object repository. Okay. Every time you open QTP, say example, every time you open QTP, see this is a new QTP file. Right. Every time you open QTP, you see here actions, and under actions you will have something called the local object repository. So it is associated automatically. It comes automatically. While shared object repository, you have to associate. You have to create the shared object repository and say for this action, use this shared object repository. You have to say that. But what is the difference? Now, what is the difference? Let's see what is the difference. Now, local object repository that you use, right, is specific to that particular script. The local object repository can work only for that particular script. You cannot share it. Say example, you create an insert order script. Insert order script. Now, if you are recording, recording the script, it will automatically create in the local object repository. Okay. Or you can also write the script and create it in the local object repository. Doesn't make a big difference. But when you are working with local object repository, insert script. Now another person is working with update order. Right. Now the process is all the same. Right. When you are insert order or update order, one extra step comes up, but rest of the screen looks the same. So if, say example, Shruti has done this. Now when, say, Aida wants to do this activity, what will happen? Even she has to she has to create all the object repository, because this is a local object repository and it cannot be shared. You have to create your own local object repository again, right? Now, what is the other disadvantage? Say example, you have 10 scripts now, and a specific text box changed for a release. Now all the 10 scripts, right, you have to go update your local object repository because it's all separate. While in shared object repository, what is the advantage of shared object repository? You create a shared object repository. You create a file with all the objects there, and then Shruti is going to connect to this. Aida is going to connect to this. Wycliffe is going to connect to this. Everyone is going to connect to this particular. Now, if there is any change, you make one change and all the scripts will get automatically reflected. That is the advantage of shared object repository. Yeah, you had a question?
No, I did
You raised your hand, that's why.
No, Rajesh, I'm not even near the system.
But it showed you raised your hand. Okay, fine, no problem. Okay, so now what it is happening is that this is the object repository. This is the preferred object repository that everyone uses, because if you have multiple people in the team or you have multiple scripts that you work with for one application, if you have one object repository, it's easy to make the changes which gets reflected in all the scripts rather than opening the script and making the changes here. That is the difference between local object repository and shared object repository. Say if you have created in your local object repository, by mistake you created it up, you can export it and create and regenerate it in the shared object repository. We'll see that how to do it or not. But preferably we use the shared object repository than the local object repository. Any questions till now? Any questions till now? Any questions? Fine. Now let's see how this object repository works and where is this located. Now object repository, in order to work with object repository, you go to resources and there are two things that you see here: object repository and object repository manager. Now object repository is the local object repository, while object repository manager is the shared object repository. Now when you open the local object repository, I clicked on object repository, so this is my local object repository. Now the difference between local object repository and this shared object repository window is that you see here file, you don't have the option to save. You don't have the option to save. While in the shared object repository, if I go to object repository manager, in the shared object repository, see it looks exactly the same, but you will see a save window here. See file, save as. That is the main difference. So you can save the object repository outside the script. Now when you are using shared object repository, the script does not know that you are going to use the shared object repository. Okay. By default, it will always point to the local object repository and not the shared object repository. Okay. So if you are using the shared object repository, your local object repository should not contain any objects in that. Clear, guys? Are you able to understand? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. Yes. So the object repository manager is the shared object repository.
Yes, object repository manager is the shared object repository. Is that your question?
Yeah, that's
Okay. Now we're going to start with local object repository and then go to shared object repository. Now local object repository you can open through this resources object repository, or by using Control R, which will open the same object repository, or you can go to actions, expand actions, and select the double click on the local object repository. You see, this is the object repository. There are 3 ways you can launch your local object repository. Okay. Now, coming to, before we go into our objects, let's understand the class and the properties, and then we will go into the local object repository. So I'm going to open this. You see here. Now I'm going to find out what is this agent name and what is password. How does QTP identify that? For that, just to know what this property value is, and you don't want to add it into your local object repository, you just wanted to see what it is. You have something called the object spy. You see here the person with a hat. You can go click on this or go to resources. Where is that? Yeah, tools, object spy. Okay, I click on the object spy. Now it says that you have to tell me which object you want me to learn. So I click on this hand button. Now sometimes what happens is, wait, let me take it out. Let me stop it. Hold on. Always to close your browser. Don't have anything open when you are working with object repositories. Have only the application that is required. Sometimes what will happen is, your object, when you open object repository, default it comes like this, and when you click on it, you see it's behind. Sometimes what happens, it will be covering that. You will not be able to select that. Sometimes it happens. At that point, if you want to move your local object spy during spying period, click on Control. You see, when I click on Control, the hand symbol is changing to a pointer. You see, an arrow. I click on Control, click and hold on Control, and then move it towards the wherever you want. You see, but the object repository is still ready to identify the objects. Now I'll go. See, I'm moving it. See, that came on top, so I couldn't. So I clicked on Control. I moved this window also. Now I wanted to see, this is coming up. So usually we close all this window, guys. You don't have multiple windows open like this. Wait, guys. Let me. What is this open here? Okay. I'm not. This is this one, right? Okay. Okay. Let me close this window. Okay. Now let me go to object spy. Let me spy the object. Okay. I want to click on this. So I see it's hindering. So I'll move this to the side. Now I am selecting. So see, it gets highlighted on what you want to select. See, the text box gets highlighted. If I click on this, you see here. This is the property. You see the properties. See, it identified the class as WinEdit, and this is the properties. You see the properties coming up here. You see, text is nothing that because there is no data there, but what is the name of that particular property? You see, attached text is agent name. So it will automatically identify for you. You need not do anything. But when you look at the object repository, right, you see here, it automatically creates a hierarchy. What is this hierarchy? Now, can anyone tell me where is this located? Where is the agent name located? Yeah.
It's inside the login project.
Inside the login, right?
Login window.
Window, you have the agent name.
Agent name.
That's what you see here. Login, agent name. You're getting me?
Right.
So so the class for the topmost is dialog. So that's why it's a dialog of login, and then in that you have the agent name.
Right.
So every time when you want to focus on a specific object or you want to go to a specific object, you have to first tell in which window it is there, and inside that window where is it located. So we'll see how to do that. Okay. Now this is the property value. So let's use our object repository. I'm going to directly go to my shared object repository. Okay. I'm directly going to my shared object repository because it's the same. Local and object, the local object repository and shared object repository window is the same. Only difference is we can save it. So I'm directly going to my shared object repository. And there, in order to add objects into your repository, you have to go to objects and say add objects, or you can go to your this button. You see here a cube with a plus sign. These are the two ways you can add it. Let me bring this down. Yeah, much better. Okay. So now I click on this add object. And then like object spy, it asks me to go and tell which one it is. But the only difference is in the object spy, it was highlighting what I was selecting. But when you're adding objects in QTP, it will not highlight. So I'll click inside the edit box. What happened? Yeah. Now you see dialog win edit. So I'll say OK. So it added that for me. Now when you add this, you see here the name of that property is agent name. That's what is coming here. You can change it to whatever you want. If you change it, it will automatically change here. Then you see here the property. How did it identify this particular edit box? See here the name, attached text name is agent name, and the class is native class is edit. Here is your class. WinEdit is your class. So this is how you identify your class. Let's add our password. I've added password. Okay. Now let's see the difference. You see agent name, the attached text is agent name, and for the password, the attached text is password. Let's go back and identify that in the application from our object repository. So I'll say click on this. Here, this one, highlight in application. This one, click on this. You see it's highlighting. Select this, click on this. See it's highlighting. Now anything, QTP does not know that the name, agent name is this. It only identifies with these two properties. Okay, these two properties. If I change the property here, I can point the password to point to agent name. Let's see how to do that. I'm going to click on this window. I'm going to say, no. What I'm going to do here, yeah. I'm going to select this. I'm going to delete that property. I deleted it, and I'll add a property, and I will say attach text. Where is attached text, attached text, attached text, attached text? Here, attached text. I'll say OK. Now in the attached text, I will change it to, I'll copy this agent name. I'll copy this agent name, put it here, and I will put it here. Now you see, if when I select password and I say highlight, it will highlight me agent name. So this is not the key. The properties is the key. Now if I change the password to agent name and I'm highlighting, you see it's highlighting the agent name instead of the password. So these two values that it's identifying from the application is the key aspect here in order to point to a specific object. Guys, you are able to understand this? Are you guys able to understand this? Any questions? Any questions? Yeah.
Rajesh, so even if we give the both as the agent name, it won't pick the wrong one, right? it will see the property and then it will check the correct boxes.
Can you repeat your question? Sorry, I missed it.
No, if by mistake we give agent name and then instead of password we give again agent name.
No, you're not going to go and edit there, right? Just for me to show you, I edited. Don't go and edit here.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's no. You don't edit.
Okay.
All you will be doing is you'll just go add the object, click on that specific object,
okay.
And the object gets added and say okay. That's all you'll do. You'll not do all those editing aspects. I just showed you how that I do it in this view. If you change this, it will change the property. If you change the property, you can change the location.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. You don't go and do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. So now let's see. Let me add the OK button. So I'm going to add the OK button. Click on the add object, and I'm going to say OK. OK button. You see, I have added now three objects into my object repository. I'm going to save it. File, save as. Now I can save my object repository wherever I want. Right? I can save my object repository. So I'll put it inside this. Okay. Now I'm going to save my object repository as flight reservation. I saved it as flight reservation. Now I'm going to close this since we are using shared object repository. Yeah.
My question is, why are you saving it? Can you tell me?
Yeah, I can hear you. The reason I'm saving it is because I'm using a shared object repository. See, when I'm using a local object repository, it is with the script only, so I need not save it. Okay. But shared object repository has no relation with the script. It's a separate tool that opens.
Okay.
Now, whatever I want to work with this has no relation with the script. Okay.
Yeah.
Has no relation with the script.
What you mean by script is a descriptive programming that we did, right?
Yes, this one, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
Like, say example, you opened a test, right? Now this shared object repository has no relation with this test.
Okay.
Only your local object repository has relation with the test.
Okay.
But local object repository you cannot share.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Okay. So, but that's why we don't use it. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay. So, sorry, Srina. So, the shared object repository, see, when in the local, if you see here, action, it's already connected, right?
Yeah, connected to action now.
By default, one action will be created. We have a separate class, we will talk about actions, not now. Okay. By default, one action will be created. And you see a local object repository connected to it.
Okay.
Right. Now, if I record it in, say, example, I saved it. So, I'll use my local now. Okay. I'm going to add objects into my local.
Okay.
Into my local. So now what I'm going to do, connect. I'm going to add the same thing. Okay. See, I added the three things. Now, I need not save because it's already connected, right? I'm going to close it. I didn't save, right?
Oh, because since we are sharing, you're saving it, right?
Not sharing. That is a separate tool. This is a separate tool. This one, right? A shared object repository is a separate tool. There's no relation with this particular script.
Okay.
Okay, now when I open my local, you see that is there.
Yeah, that is already, without saving it already comes. Yeah.
It's there. So now if I'm writing my application, say I say dialog off, don't worry, we'll talk about this. Dialog off, you see it's bringing in the data.
Yeah.
This data came up automatic, right?
Yes.
It's coming from your local object repository.
Okay.
Now let me remove this from my local. I'm going to delete this off. No, I don't have anything in my local. Okay, let's do the same thing. But it's there. I created a shared, right? So I say dialog off. See, nothing is coming.
Okay.
So your shared object repository when you create is no way related to your script. Now, how do you relate to that shared repository and say that in this script use this shared object repository? You have to go and you have to use something called associate. What I will do, I'll right click on my action. You see, associate repository with action. You can do it in multiple ways. This is one. Now I'll go and say, this is the one which I saved, right?
Yeah.
I'll click on this and I'll say, okay. Now you see it's come under the local object repository.
Yeah.
Now let's do dialog of.
Okay. Now when you type log, it automatically comes in.
Login comes because what it does is, by default, it will go to your local. So the moment I type dialog off, first it will go see anything is there in the local. Local is empty. What is the next object repository that's associated with my action? Flight reservation. It's there. It will pick up from there.
Yeah, it just came up because you saved it there, right?
Because I saved it and I associated with my action.
The action. Okay.
You're getting me?
Yeah. Now it's okay. Yeah. Now it's much clearer.
You want me to give you another example?
But if you want, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
You didn't understand, I will give you.
No, I'm okay with Rajesh. Seriously.
You're okay. Okay.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Fine. Now what we did, we associated this. Now let me remove this. As I was talking, I did it quite fast, so I'm going to remove the object repository. Now I created a shared object repository. Now the shared object repository as such, it does not know, this script does not know that it has to use a shared object repository and not a local object repository. So how do you do that? How do you tell the script, don't use local, use the shared? First, step one, you have to keep your object repository empty. Okay, say let's do this. What I will do, I'll show you how QTP takes it from the local object repository rather than a shared object. So what I will do, I will add only my password. Okay, I'm going to add only my password and I'm going to change the password here to point to agent name. Okay, let's do that. Let me get the right one. So I'll add agent name and then I'll delete it here. Okay, now I got my agent name. I'll take this property here, copy, and I'll go to my password. Okay, now my agent password is, see, if you highlight, password is pointing to agent name. Now I'll remove the agent name from my local object repository. Okay, so my password is still there in my shared object repository. Now I'll associate my password is still there in my local. I'm going to associate my shared object repository. So now you have a local in which password is there and it's pointing to agent name, and you have a shared object repository where the password is pointing to password. Right, you are able to understand what I'm doing. Now I'm going to write the script. I'm going to say dialog of, see, it's going to my shared because dialog is not there in my, no, it's going to my local because dialog is already there. Dot WinEdit. We'll learn how to write it. Don't worry. I'm just showing you the object repository here of, it has two agent name dot set Rajesh, then I'll say dialog of dot win edit of password dot set, I'll say Mercury. Dialog of dot win button of dot click. Okay, now let's run this. I'm going to run this. Let's see what's happening. You see? Did you see that? It took the Mercury from the password from the local object repository, because the local object repository had the password, right? See, only local object repository had the password, while first it printed the agent name, and then on top of the agent name it put the Mercury. Guys, did you see that? Did you see that?
Yes. Yes, Rajesh.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
So now you know that by default, local object repository, or by default shared QTP picks up its data from the local object repository and not shared object repository. So if I remove this from here, if I remove from my local object repository the password, now it will work. You see, now it will work. Okay. You see, it's able to log in. See, now it is able to log in. Guys, you are able to understand this? Any questions? Any questions? Fine. Fine. Now the local object repository and the shared object repository that we were talking, there are some more features here. Now let me log out of this, since we don't have this portion. I have only this portion recorded. Now in my local object repository, in my shared object repository, this closes the file, closes everything. Enable editing. We'll talk about this now. What is enable editing? Now when I go and open my local object repository, when I open my shared object repository, you see it's not high. It's not allowing me to do anything here, right? It's just how do you say that? It's not enabled, right? You can't do anything with this. If I want to add an object repository, you see it doesn't allow you to add. That add option itself, add option itself is disabled. Now how do you add a new objects into it? Yes, it is read only, correct. Yeah, I was not getting the right word. Yeah, thank you. It's read only. Now I'm not able to add objects into this. So what does this mean? That if you add once and then you cannot add any more? No. It's just protecting you from any mishaps. That's why it opens in read only mode every time. Every time. You see, every time when you open, it will open only in read only mode. You can't do anything with this. If you want to add an object, say example, I want to add cancel to this. How do I add? I have to go to File, Enable Editing. So this will make it editable. When you click on this Enable Editing, you see, it's become brighter now, right? Compared to that, now it is in edit mode. My add objects come up. I click on the add objects and I can add my object. See, that got added. I just click on save. So the original file, it saves on the original file. Close it. Let's reopen this. And here it comes. You see, that cancel got added here. So that is the difference between a local object repository and a shared object repository, where this one addition that I do will get affected in all the scripts. Say example, if I wanted to open another script, I'm just going to close this script. I'll close this script and open a new script. I'm closing this. No. Now here in this new script, I'm associating my shared object repository. You see, all the objects that I have, that I created, even the cancel, is here in this. So I need not worry about going and modifying 10 scripts when I associate the object repository. One change will automatically get affected in all the scripts. Guys, you are able to understand this concept? Any questions? Fine. Now, what is the next feature? Connects to Quality Center. Now, this, what happens is, if you give this, you give the path to the Quality Center. Your server should be running. My server is running. If I say connect, it will connect to the Quality Center, and I can take the, what they do, I told you, right? The Quality Center, this connection does not happen because there is no patches. Okay, it's connected. Now, last time it didn't connect. Okay, fine. Now what I will do, I'll give my username and password. Authenticate. It authenticated. See, it will list you all the things. Now connect. Now, what is the advantage of connection is that you can put your object repository in your Quality Center and download it and connect it from there. It'll take some time. Give it. Yeah.
Rajesh, is it possible to control the access, like giving only to certain people and not giving, because anybody can edit, it seems, right?
No, you cannot do that.
We cannot do that.
Anybody can edit it, but usually in the team, we assign one person for object repositories.
Oh, okay.
So if you want anything to be added into the object repository, you go tell him that,
Okay, he will be the only person who does all the changes.
Yes, he will be the only person. So now I am connected to the Quality Center.
Okay.
Okay. Now I say file, open. You see here, now test resources. You can put your resources here. You see, this is already there. Where is this located in our Quality Center is when you open Quality Center. No, the advantage of putting it in Quality Center is version control, right?
Yeah.
So if anyone edits it, you know who's going to edit it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the advantage of putting it in Quality Center.
Right.
So let it connect. Okay, now I have to change. What is the date? Okay, so I'll go to my testing, test resources. Here, object repositories. And it's here. You see, I uploaded my, say example, let's do that for our batch. Okay. I'm going to click this, right, add. I will say QA match 178. 178, correct, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm going to create another folder. I'm going to say OSOR. Okay. And I'm going to upload this here. So I'm going to say new test, new this thing. And I have to say what it is here. I have to say it's in an object repository, right? See, shared object repository.
Okay.
That is because it will show you in that color. You see in this format. Otherwise, nothing major different. So I'll say flight reservation. Now I have to upload it here. Resources view. I see again the version control is coming. I'll upload my shared object repository here. Okay, that's done. Now, wait a second, what is this? Assist viewer. Okay. I'll go to my QTP. I'll go to my shared object. Oops, still running something. Oh, man. What happened here? Okay, cancel. Now what I will do, I'll close this. See, in my local object repository, I cannot connect.
Nothing is there, that's why.
See. So in my local, what is happening? Why is it stuck? In my local object repository,
there, right?
no, you cannot connect. You see?
Right.
You cannot connect. So now I can't use my local object repository. So what I will do, I will associate my shared object repository. So I'll open here and go to say file, connect to quality center. It's already connected. Okay. I'll say file open. And here where we put it in resources. Go one step up. One more step up. Yes, 778 SOR flight reservation open. That will be open. Now you see here, you see on the top connection quality center. It's coming from the quality center.
Okay.
Now you can go and say enable editing. Now you can add your objects here. It will automatically, when you save it, it will automatically upload it to the quality center.
Okay.
Okay. You getting it?
Yeah.
Any questions, guys? How do we connect our object repository to quality center? Any questions? Yeah.
No, see, you are bringing it to the quality center, right? Are you doing it just for the version control purpose or for what?
No. Why do we do this is, we want to keep, why do we create shared object repository? You tell me that, why do we create shared object repository?
Because, I don't know how to explain, because you wanted to bring, so it can be shared by all the users.
Yes. Now, what is the advantage of quality center? Now, forget about shared object repository. What is the advantage of quality center?
Quality center is the first thing is, the version control we can
No. The advantage of quality center is everything you can have it at a centralized location. Right from your project management to test resources into everything into one application. You can manage and maintain everything in one application, correct? Now, instead of putting it in your local hard drive and people sharing it, you put it in quality center. So what is the advantage? Now when I put it in quality center, let's do this. I didn't save this. Okay. I am saving this. Now it will automatically connect to quality center and save. Now in quality center, I have the version control, right? Though it is a centralized location where everyone can keep their resources. That's why I kept my object repository there.
Okay.
Now I have to check in.
Okay.
I'm saying check in, select, check in. Why did I do that? No, instead of check in, I can undo checkout. I'll say initial version. Okay, it's checked in now. Already logged by user is now. I'm the user, right? Because wait, hold on. Let me. Okay. Now since the connectivity is still there, it's not allowing me to edit. Okay. Now after I finish it, I can take the connection out. Log out. Since I have logged in, it's not allowing me to check in. See, it's asking me to check in. You saw that? Wait, we'll talk about it again. We'll talk about it again. Wait, hold on. Okay. Now let's see this version. Now I'm going to check in this version. Check in. I'll say initial version. Okay. I've checked it. Now I have checked in the object repository. What is it? Okay, fine. Some crap there. Now I have checked in my object repository here. My flight reservation object repository is already checked in. Now I'm going here. I'm going to my this thing. I'm saying login, close. I'm going to open.
Are you going back to the QTP?
Yeah, no, I'm going back into my object repository and I'm going to connect to it. Open. Okay. Now, why we have this object repository in the QTP quality center is two reasons. One, it will be in a shared location plus the version control, right? So now I wanted to enable editing. You see, the object file is checked in. Would you like to check out? You saw that?
Oh, okay.
So if I say yes, now it will ask me, give me the comments. So I'm saying adding help button to the login dialog box. Okay, I'll say okay. Now I have checked out the code. I have checked out my object repository. Okay, now I'm going to add help button here. I'm going to say add object. Now you know who added this also, correct?
No.
No. Yeah. Now I have added this, right? Now when I save it, it will say it's saved into my local shared object repository. Okay, but it's still not checked in. If you see my quality center, it will show checked out. Let's refresh this. You see, flight reservation is checked out. Can you see the symbol? Huh?
Okay.
Because I checked out right here. I checked out in my shared object repository in order to add help. You getting me? Now I am
bringing the feature into this, right? You're connecting both and then bringing the version control.
Version control
you know who has checked in, who has checked out.
Here. Now I saved it. Now I have to go to my quality center version control. You see, in my object repository, file, quality center version control, and I will say check in. Now it will ask me what are the comments. Yeah, I want to check in. Yes, I want to check in. Done. It's gone back to a read-only mode. Now I'll go back to my quality center and I'll refresh this. See, it's checked in now. See? Go to my history. See this. It's here. You see 3 modified by, since I'm the only user, I used it. It's saying the username and what is the changes that is made here. Now you don't want the changes. Okay. I don't want the cancel button. What is my previous version here? I will say check out this version.
Okay.
It will not check out till your connection is done. So I'll disconnect from here, okay? Because I'm holding on to it. Once you download it into your local object repository, disconnect it off. You will still have it here, okay? Now, I want to check out the previous version. You want to compare and see what is the difference? You can compare and see. Let's compare. So I click on the compare button. Oh yeah, it's coming up. But it's not coming anything. It's coming up. You see?
Okay.
Help file is missing here. Can you see the difference?
Yeah.
Compare, go to QTP comparison. Missing here. Here is the help file added. This is the latest version.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now what I will do, I wanted to go back to my previous version, not the latest version. So I'll go back here and I'll say check this out. Yes, I want to check out. I'll say reverted back the help button that we added. So every item that you are adding and removing will have a version here. So this is checked out. I have to go and check this back in. Check in. Yeah, this is the one, check in. Okay. Close that, checked in. Okay. Now let's go back to our shared object repository and download the reconnect.
No, are you doing this because you don't have the version control in QTP?
No, we don't have the version control in QTP. That's why we are using Quality Center.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so I'll log in here. Otherwise, you will not know what changes who made, right?
Yeah, I understand that part. Yes.
I'll go here and load that here. Now I'll say load my flight reservation. Okay. Where is the help file gone? You see that?
What was that? What did you say?
The help file, the help button that I added is gone. See.
Gone. Oh, okay.
So in order to have this version control, we use Quality Center, as well as to keep, instead of putting it in a file in a server, we put it inside Quality Center so that we can track everything, we can provide information, everything we can do.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I got it.
Got it?
Yes.
Any other questions, guys?
I have a quick question.
Yep.
So when connect from QTP to Quality Center to download the object repository, are you downloading the latest version, or can you choose which version to download?
Always you will download the checked-in version. See, when you are downloading right from Quality Center, it will not show. See, it's not showing me multiple versions here. It will only show you one file. That is the latest version. If you want the older version, then you have to go to Quality Center and check out the older version. So the new file will come up here. Can you see here? You will see only one thing here, right? One file here. You don't see multiple versions coming up. Only in the history it will show you the multiple versions. You saw how many versions are here?
Yeah.
But only one, the latest checked-in version will be available as a file for you.
Okay, so then how do I get the older version again? I have to check out the older version first.
You have to check out the older version, right?
Okay. And
So
then
if,
it will be available.
see, here I added one more version saying one more button help in a version, right?
Correct.
I don't have that here now because I checked in the older version. So let me do that again. So I'll go here, I'll disconnect, log out. Yes. So that I'll close the connection. Now I know which is the one. I don't know which is the one which has the help file. This is the latest. So this one I'll compare and see these two. Let's see which one has the help file. I'll compare. I selected the two. I put a plus control and selected the two. Go to QTP this comparison. You see, this has the help file.
Yeah. But where does it say which version it is?
Where does it say details?
Version 3 comparison.
See, version 3, version 4 comparison. See, in details it's there. See.
Okay. Huh. Okay.
Right. Discrepancies. It's not showing any distinction. See.
So that's
version 3 and version 4.
That's version 4. Okay.
Version 4. Now, if I go here and check out version 3, I'm going to select version 3. I'm going to say check out this version. Yes. I'm not going to have any comments. I'll just say OK. Now I'll go and check in.
What are we checking in now?
I'm checking in that version 3. So now version 3, instead of version 4, version 3 is going to be the latest version now, which had the help file. Now let's download the version 3 and see. I'm going to connect it again. Connect. Close. Open. Version 3, the latest version I'm downloading. The help file is coming.
Oh, so QTP only downloads the latest checked-in file.
Yes. No, whatever. You can only download the latest checked-in file.
Correct. So QTP only downloads the latest checked-in file.
Yes. So whatever you have checked in, that's what you're going to see here.
Okay. So if you want the previous version, you have to check out and check it back in so that it becomes the latest version.
So every time you check out and check in and check out, what happens? Your version gets created here. That is the why we keep this in QTP.
Right. So if you want a previous version, you have to first check it out, check it back in, and only then you can access it from QTP.
Okay. And you guys are the most luckiest because this was nowhere in my material. If you see my automation also, this also, it's not in the material of connecting to QTP Quality Center, but unfortunately 3 days before my ex-student called me and said she wanted to know how to connect to Quality Center because they wanted to keep everything in the Quality Center. So I showed her this. I thought I'll include this in the material also. Okay. So now we saw this. Now, rest all is file save as. You can save a new copy. Recent files, what are the recent files that you have created that comes up here? Export to XML. Now, what is this export to XML and export test to XML? Test objects to XML. Now, when you are working with local object repository and you wanted to say, or you, sorry?
Can you unmute me? Yeah, thanks.
You have unmuted, oh, can you mute you, right? Or unmute you?
I'm sorry, mute me. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So now what we do, export to XML and export to XML objects. Let's see what is that. Now if I say export to XML, right, you create the whole object repository as an XML file. Yeah?
My question is, so can you convert your local repository file into your shared repository file?
Give me 5 minutes time.
Okay.
Okay. You will understand that. That's what
Okay.
exactly what I was doing now.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to save this file. So what I did, I wanted to take this. I'm going to export it to XML. Okay, I'm going to put it here. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, I'm going to go to my that's my folder. I mean no, CHP QTP Center. No, where is Rajesh? C Rajesh Okay, I'm going to export it here. I'm going to say flight justified flight reservation XML. Okay. Sorry, give me 1 second. Give me a second. Import. Why am I clicking on import? I should say export. So I'll go here. Click. So I'll go to my Rajesh folder. Need, and I will say flight reservation. Now I have exported the whole thing into an XML. So 6 objects got exported. Okay, everything fine. Cool. Now what I will do, I will remove my shared object repository here. I'll go to my local. See, export. You cannot import a shared object repository into a local object repository, but you can export a shared local object repository and import it into a shared object repository. So I can export a local object repository and import into a shared object repository. Let's export that. Let's do that. Oh God, give me a second. Oh, I'll close this. No. God, I closed QTP instead of this. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Let this load. Okay, so now I'm going into test. Now I'll go into my local object repository. I'm going to add these objects. Okay, now I added all these objects in my local object repository, not my shared. You see here, local object repository. Now I'll say file, export to local objects, export local objects. I'm going to say, you see here. Now the moment I say file, export local objects, you see this shared object repository type. So I am exporting it as a shared object repository. So I'll just say FR. Now the file that gets saved is saved in the format of a shared object repository. Let me show you that. You see here, this is my shared object repository, right? Now if you see here, the FR that I created is also saved it as TSR. Shared object repository is also my TSR. So if I go here, if I close this, I'm going to delete the whole total. I'm going to delete so now I have everything empty. I just go right click on this, associate. You see, I can directly associate my local object repository that I exported it as a shared object repository. You see, it's coming. Now if I type dialog off, you see, it's coming up. Did that answer your question? Did that answer your question?
Hello? Yes, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I did see that.
Yeah. So now, this is how you convert your local object repository into your shared object repository. You just say export. Yeah. You just say file export local objects and it will automatically save as a shared object repository. You don't need to do anything there. Okay. Then what else was there? Let's go back to our shared object repository. So we saw how to connect, we saw how to export. We can export this as an XML, export as a test objects to XML. We hardly use these things. Then edit is common, add objects, define a new test object. Here you can create your own object here. If the object repository is not able to identify a specific object, go to SPY and then you can create your own objects here. Hardly we use this. Almost every object can be identified by QTP, so you don't need to worry about that. Now, navigate and learn is just like your. It is for your a different type of recording. So I'll click on here. You'll get this one. I'll say learn. It will learn the whole window for me. Close. You see, it learned me these two objects. So whatever it is there, it's just the same thing, nothing major difference about it. Okay, just additional features that are there. Highlight in application, update from application. So I'll say this application. Now it is saying dialog. Okay. Oh, it's already there. So these are all basic tools that are there which we hardly use all these things. We use majorly the add objects. Now highlight in application, I showed you. If I select this and say highlight in application, it will highlight and show me which one it is. Local object repository, if I don't know, say example, I have 100 objects here and I don't know which is this object pointing to. I can go from my object repository to the application and highlight, or from the application to my local object repository. If I want to go from my application to the local object repository, I'll say locate in repository. I'll say this one. You see, this is the one that is there. I'll say okay. You see, it's highlighting this. So from my application, I can locate it in my object repository also. Tool Object Spy. Object Spy is for you to have a understanding on what is this property, what is this object. So you cannot save anything in the Object Spy. It's just showing you what are the property values there. We'll use Object Spy when we start working with descriptive programming. That's a different type of programming in QTP. When we do that, Object Spy is a lot used at that point. Object repository comparison tool, you can compare two different object repositories to see what is the difference between, see it's asking the first file and the second file. Say example, I'm giving the first file as this and second file I'm going to give a different one. Give this. See, I'm giving two files. I want to compare and see what is the difference. You see, there are so many differences. See, it's highlighting what are. See, so many objects are here available, but here it is not there. Help file is here. It does not exist here. So it compares and shows you what it is. Now what you can do, previous difference, next difference. These are all things that you can enable to compare and see what is the two difference. You can even connect to quality center and compare. That's what it is used for. Merge tool. Now what I am going to do, I'm going to open this I'm going to say the flight reservation that we created today. What I'm going to do, I'm go here, go up. What did I do? See, Rajesh. Today we created only 3 things, right? Help file, all the 4 button, 2 text box and 3 buttons we added. Now I'm going to merge the one which I used in my previous class, where I have lot more objects added. We just saw that those 2 objects were there, right? Now it's saying it is merged. It has what and all you see here. In this, it was only this. In the file, the first file that I opened, it had only these. In the second file that I opened, it had lot more. What it did, it merged all this. You see, it merged. It's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 is the second file. That's what it's 2. That's what it means 2. And the rest is the first file, so it merged everything. Now if I click on save, now it's going to create a new object repository for me and it will get saved there. Let's go and do that. Now I'm going to say GHT or ECR V8 reservation _1. Okay, I'm going to save it as _1. Okay. Done. Now if I go to my shared object repository and I'm going to open my _1. You see, what we had is very less. Now if I open _1, everything is come. See, everything is come. So that's how we merge our object repository. Guys, you are able to understand that? How did I merge these 2 object repositories? Guys, any questions on that? Okay. What else we have? Manage resources, manage resource object repository. This I've hardly used this feature at all, right? Since it is in read-only mode, it's not allowing you to manage. I have to enable editing. Now I'll go here and I'll say manage, add. Now I can add an parameter into this. What is the default value? Description for that. I have hardly used this. Okay, I can say I've never used this. Windows basic features help talks about object repository. So this is what is all about object repository. Now you have to understand how to add these object repository or add these objects into your local object repository and save them. Now when you save them, after saving, I want you to go to Quality Center, create a folder in test resources and add the object repository in our Quality Center, not in the local server. I don't want you to add it into your local system. Add it into your Quality Center. Guys, any questions till now? Any questions? Yeah.
Rajesh, can you give one example where the object spy, you can use the object spy and create your own object, like just one example?
Okay. It costs $5.
That's okay.
That's okay. So first I'll put $5. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove my, so this is empty? Local object is empty?
Yeah.
I'm going to remove my shared object repository. So now, if anything I give, it will not work.
Yeah.
Correct. Now I'm going to open. I'm not going to do that script now. I think I have that. No. Description. I don't have the description. Test 1 is the test 1. No. No. I don't have that. Okay, fine. Let me close this. I'll open. I have to do it. I didn't save it. Okay, fine. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an, I'm going to log into this application without using object repository. So I should know what this object is all about. Or let's do one thing. Another one we'll do. What happened? Let me log in. Instead of teaching you description programming, I'll show a simple one. Rajesh Mercury. Where do we use this? Okay, today's date is 11. I will say 15. 15. 15. Live from, I'm going to say someplace, flights. Okay. Now, I want the flight number. Flight number is generated from the application. I'm not providing this flight number, right?
Yes.
How do I get this flight number from the application? So for that, you have a property called get RO property. We will talk about it in future classes, not now. But how do I know which property holds which property holds this value? I don't know, right?
Yeah.
Say I'm going to add it into my object repository. Let me associate my shared object repository. I'm going to use this shared object repository. I'm associating my shared object repository. Now here, if I open this, I don't know which is the one, right? So I'm going to go and highlight in the application and find out which is the object repository. Object repository is web edit flight number. Is it there? See, this is the one.
Okay.
So what I'll do, I know this is the object. I'm going to drag and put it here. We'll talk about how to do all these things. Okay, I know this is the object that will contain this value, but how do I take which property that contains that? I don't know. So I'll go to object spy, click on this and spy that object. Click on the spy. Now it is showing me that's the value, correct? This is the one, right? Flight number. Now what is the value? 20327. Find where is that value here in the properties. Yeah. Never use this. Okay, don't use the reg.
Okay.
You always use text. You see here, text is here.
Yeah.
So what I will do now, I know it's text, right?
Yeah.
So now what I'll do, I'll put get RO property of txt, and I'll put it into a variable. I'll say FLI number equal to. Now I'll say MSG box FLI no. Now let's run this. What happened?
The quotes is not closed inside the text.
Quotes is not, okay. Sorry. Again, it's a problem with. Okay, here, I got it.
Yeah.
I got the flight number. You see, flight number is this, right?
Yeah.
So in order to understand which exact property holds that value, we use object spy.
Okay.
Adding that object will not show what value that comes in the application. For that, we use object spy. Got it?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Fine. Now that is all about object repository. So this is what we learn in object repository, where we are going to use this object repository a lot in our day-to-day application. Now, one more thing in object repository. Let's do last one that we are going to do in object repository. Let me clean this up. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to open a shared object repository manager. Now, if you see here, there are so many objects that I have to capture. Am I going to sit and capture all these objects one at a time? It is little tedious. It's a painstaking process, right? Now, can anyone tell me what are the objects that are common here? Looking at this, can anyone tell me what are the, let me make it smaller. What are the common objects in the flight reservation? Can anyone identify the objects? Yeah?
Is it a flight number?
Objects, not the table.
Okay.
What are the objects common here? You understood my question? Did you understand? Did you understand my question? Common objects like I'm talking about text box, buttons. What are the common things that are here?
Yeah, text boxes are common.
Text box is common. Then anything else?
Drop down is common.
Yeah. Anything else?
Buttons also there.
Buttons is also there. So
yeah, radio button.
Yeah, we know that there are buttons, combo boxes, text box, radio button.
Radio button.
So what I will do, there are certain ways where you can add everything in one shot. I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to say object, add object, and instead of clicking on individual objects, I'll click on the window.
Oh, okay.
Now it's highlighting the window. I'll say okay. Now what will happen is, since it's the overall window, this guy is telling me, object repository is telling me, boss, I can see lot more objects there. You don't want anything to be added? There are 4 options it provides. Select, you say no, just add the selected object only. Okay. Add default objects. Now default objects, it identifies default objects as standard objects. Buttons, radio button, all these things are default objects. So if I say selected object only, you see it will add only the window and give me, that's all. What I selected, I got it. That's only one I selected, right? No, I don't want this. I want more objects. So I'll say add object, select the window, I'll say okay. Now, I want all the default objects. Let's see what are all the default objects. You open it, say okay. Now you see all the buttons, everything, combo boxes, everything. See Win combo box, everything got added. The radio button, see Win radio button, everything got added. That is what is default objects.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is all this. Now the other next option. The next option is all objects. All objects means in this window you have an image file.
Everything will come down.
This is a label. Everything will get added.
Okay.
You see the huge value will come up. Will come up. You see? Airline. Now highlight this and see which one is that. Do you need all these values? No, you don't need this. So everything, you see how big it's come. Everything is come. What is this stash number?
Okay.
But this particular box is also added. See, we don't need this flight schedule.
So usually we do only the default, is it?
Usually what we do is, let me show you what we do. Usually we do the default, yes, and then, or there is one more option. Now the option that it usually is here, selected object type.
Okay.
Now, this gives you an option to add whatever you want. So I'll click on this. You see here, I know there are buttons.
Okay, yeah. We know there are text boxes.
Edit boxes are there. Then we know there is a combo box. Radio button is there. So I'll say okay, radio button. Now what else is there? List box, combo box is there. Combo box comes under list. No, combo box, CVB combo box.
Okay.
So I'll say list. And what else is there?
So based on what we see in the window, we can pick.
Yes. Now if I say okay and I say okay, the whole list everything will get added. Whatever you have selected will get added. Okay. But sometimes what happens is, other than that, there is ActiveX also. If I see, let me highlight in the application. So this one looks like a red text box, but it's not a text box. See, it's an ActiveX. That didn't get added. Cannot locate in.
Okay.
But if you use the default, it would have got added.
It will add that also.
It will add that also. Sometimes we use it. Now, when do we use this one? Let me show you. Now, let me remove this. I will say default. First, we'll do the default. Where is that? Where is that? What am I doing? Yeah, add object. Okay. I'll say default objects. Okay. Now in the default objects, can you see anything which says menu? Here.
Yeah.
This menu is also added. Okay. Now if you don't add using, if you are not using defaults to add, what is this menu? Menu is this one. You cannot add this drop down menu in your application. There is a code that you need to write in order to go and say file new open. But in order for that, you have to add the menu.
Okay.
Menu function.
Where do we write the code for that?
We're going to see that. We're going to see that.
Oh,
okay. Now, what it is happening is if I'm not using default, how do I get that property? How do I get that object? Go here, select this. Okay. Selected object type, open, and you see here menu. You will see menu here. Enable that. Okay. That's all. So usually when you are adding objects, you cannot add a menu directly using the, wait, let me cancel this. When you're adding objects, you cannot go and click on this and say, what is this? It will not show as menu. You see?
Right.
You cannot, adding object cannot identify. So you have to use that method to add the menu. The selected object method to add the menu.
Right.
You're getting me?
Yep.
Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Yeah.
You know, just before you showed us the object types, right? So is that just for the one page, the flight reservation?
Yes, whatever page that you displayed, it's just for the one page. Now,
so we have to create an object repository, shared object repository for every page?
No. For one application, one object repository.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm going here, I'm saying add object. I've added this. I'll say OK. I'll say add all default objects. OK. Now all the default objects got added here. OK. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to say flights. Let's see this. This is another window, right?
Yeah.
Now I want to go and tell me where is this window. It's not there. See? So I have to go again, select this, add object, select this window, and I will say OK, and I will say add default objects in this. Now you see it comes inside flight reservation because it's a pop-up inside flight reservation, right? It created another object called the flight table, and inside that it had added 2 buttons and 1 list box. So you have to add like this. It's much faster way to add your objects.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
So it's going to be one object repository for the whole application?
Yes, one object repository for the entire application.
Okay. And we can pick up whatever we want from there then?
Yes, we can pick up whatever we want from there. Now I'm going to save this. I'm going to go and save file. Okay. Now let me do this. Okay. So now I have added I'll save this. Wait, let me save this. I'll save it on top of this. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, guys, any other questions on object repository? That's all what we have to learn on object repository. Any questions? Any questions? Fine. Now, object repository. We learned how to associate shared object repository by right-clicking on this. Then another way to associate object repository other than this is to go to keyword view, select test flow, right-click on the action call properties. Here. No, not here, sorry. Right-click on action properties, parameter, add the input, associate repository, and add you cannot, the automatically local object repository is associated, you cannot delete it. So add your shared object repository to it. Add your shared object repository to it. Okay. Okay. Yes. Not be empty. Must. Okay. What is this? Parameter cannot be empty. Hold on. Clear. Add. Browse. Yeah, why is it not adding? Okay. I don't know what is this not adding into this? Seriously? Why is this parameter cannot be? Oh, okay. This is the error message. Sorry, I put a parameter here. Okay, fine. Now we'll say okay. You see that got associated here. Since you can add it through right clicking here, or you can go to actions, action properties, and add the repository here. So this is what we can do. These are the two ways to add your repository. So that's all about object repository. I want you guys to, so the homework for tomorrow would be, I want you guys to go and create the object repository for the entire flight application. Entire flight application, all the object repository, but please do not use the default. I want you to go and add one at a time for you to get the feeling of it. Okay, add one at a time. Don't use the default. Add all the object repositories here as well as this. Don't add the image file. We don't need that. So add the object repository into your file and create a shared object repository, because tomorrow we are going to work more on shared object repository, or we're going to work more on scripts. At that time, you need the shared object repository. Okay. Any other questions, guys, before we go on to the next? Any questions? Fine. Next, what we are going to see here is we are going to see how to write QTP scripts. How to write QTP scripts. Fine. There is a way to write QTP scripts. Let's see what is the way to write QTP scripts. How to write QTP scripts. Let's see this. 1. Every script that we write, there is a standard way to write it. You have object dot method. This is the way to write your QTP script. So object comes from your object repository. This is your OR. And the method is where we say what should you do. And this one object is coming from the object repository. This one says which object I need to work on. Which object I need to work on. So you will write like this: which object dot what should I do there. That's how you will write your script. So it is called object dot method. So if you are writing a sentence, you'll think about this: which object and what should I do there. This is how you write your script. Now this which object is again split into class of object dot method. The method can be put the value there or click on certain values, whatever. We will see what is methods. Now class dot object dot method. This is how class of object dot method. This is how you will write your script. So you have to know what class you are writing, what is the object you are calling for, and what you want to perform. Any questions on this? Any questions on this? Fine. Now let's go and see how do we write this. So I said object dot method. So what I told, let me capitalize it. A-O-B-J-E-C-T. If I put a single quote, that means it's comment, that whatever I write, it's not going to execute that portion. So object dot method. This is what we said. Now that object dot method is again divided into class of object. You have to put it in quotes. Class of object dot method. Now this class of object depends upon the hierarchy. Again, any object that you add will come in the hierarchy, right? Say for example, the flight reservation that we added is in the hierarchy, right? Give me a second. Enable editing. I did launch application. Let me add this also in it. Add object. This one. I will say add of default objects. So default objects. Okay. Okay. That's also come in. So I'll save it. Okay. Now anything that you come in, you see, it comes with the hierarchy. So every object that you are going to write, say for example in the login, I have to put my name here, Rajesh. Then I have to put my password here, so that's Mercury, and then click on. So every object you have to write the full hierarchy for every object. So when you are writing, say example for the agent name, what will be the hierarchy for the agent name? Can anyone tell me what is the hierarchy for the agent name? Anyone? Yeah? Go ahead. Yeah?
Hold on. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So you will have, can you open that object repository? Yes. So the first you want to do is your class is dialog.
Dialog, class is dialog.
And then
no, you just tell me the hierarchy. Tell me only the hierarchy. If I want to write agent name, what should be the hierarchy? It should be login and agent name.
Agent name, yes.
Right. Now if I want to click on OK button here, what will be my hierarchy?
Flight reservation, flight table, and then OK.
Yes. So for every hierarchy, you have a class and an object. Say, so if I want to write, say for login, so my hierarchy would be class of object dot method, because I directly read the class of object, that is for my that will reach me here for this. Then I have to talk about this. So I'll say dot class of object dot. Now I have reached this point. I have reached agent name. So I know I have located this point. Now what should I do here? I should put my method here. This is how we write the code. Now looking at this code, who can write the script for me? Looking at this code, who can forget about the method? We have not yet spoken about the method, but who can write the script for me? Yeah.
We have to say the class. So for login, can you click the login?
Okay.
Okay. The class is dialog. So dialog.
So the class is dialog.
Dialog. and open bracket.
See,
Okay.
because there is only one dialog in the entire
Okay.
thing, it automatically gave me that. Okay.
Yes, okay.
Then
Dot.
And
then we have to click on the
agent name, right?
Yeah, agent name, and it's a win edit, so we have to do win edit.
So it will automatically win. See, it will come here. Right. Win edit off.
Bracket.
Now for this dialog, since we set the dialog of login, it is gone into this hierarchy. It knows we are talking about this hierarchy.
Yeah.
Now in this hierarchy, how many win edits are there?
2 are there. So we have to pick whichever we want.
Whichever you want. So I say agent name.
Agent name.
Dot.
Then close. Dot.
Now
we have to give the
method.
Yeah, whatever the method.
Okay. Now if we methods, talking about method, right? Very few methods we have. If you want to put a value into, let me mute here. Yeah. Can I clean this? Okay. Now talking about the method. Very few methods we use. One, if it's a text box, and I want to put the value in the text box. There are 2 methods that does that. One, if I just have to put the whole data at one shot, like Rajesh, just dump the whole data into the text box, then I use set. If I want to type R, A, J, E, S, H, one at a time, then I will say type. These are the 2 methods that we use for text box. If I have a button, what do we do on the button? We go and click on the button. So the method is click. If I wanted to, if I have a drop down or a list box, where I want to go and select. I want to select a value, right? Then my method is select. With this, your entire thing will be revolving around this methods. All the methods will be revolving around this. So either you use a set or a type depending upon what you want to do here. Button click and you select a list box. So coming back to your here. Now here what I want to do, I want to put the value there. Now where do I know, how do I know that when should I use type and when should I use set? If I can copy this whole thing, I'll check and then paste it like this and the whole value comes in, then we can use a set. So I'll say dot set, set, and what it's saying, give the text. So I'll say space, open quotes, I will say Rajesh. Who can give me the next for the password? Who can give me for the password? Haji.
Yeah. The same thing. Since it's in login again, we have dialog.
Okay, wait, let me take. Dialog of?
Yeah, login. And then the same thing, win edit. And then we have one option. Password, we choose password. And then
Dot?
set, and then Mercury in quotes.
Space, open quotes.
Mercury. If there is a date, then what do we do, Rajesh? That was my doubt.
We'll come to it.
Okay.
That's once we log in, then next is the date. That immediate next is what is the date we are going to see.
Okay.
Okay. Who can give me for the next one? Next I have to click on the OK. Who can give me that? Hold on. You just did that. Who else can give me? You tried once, so I want someone else who's not tried to try. Who else? You? Can you? You didn't understand what I was talking so long? Padma, you didn't understand?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. Sorry. I didn't know it. I was actually on mute. Sorry.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I can try that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you go to the object repository?
Yeah.
Okay, we are doing the, okay.
I'm doing this.
Yeah, dialog, open quotes, login.
Dot.
Can you go back to the repository? Win button. Okay, select OK. Dot click. Yeah, dot click.
Let's see whether it's working. Okay. Remove. Now I'm going to run from top. Guys, you are able to understand this? Any questions? Any questions? If you have any questions? You are able to understand?
Yes, I was able to understand. Hello?
Yeah. I'm listening to you. You are able to understand. Any questions?
No questions for right now.
Okay. So now, when I'm writing the script, you saw me typing each and every line. Do you need to really type it? No, not necessary. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do the same thing in an easier way. Go to your object repository. What do you want to work with now? I want to create an agent name. I'll select the agent name, drag and put it here. We'll write till the method call. But be careful, not every time this method call will be correct. So you have to be a little careful with that. Then I'll go and put the password, select the password, drag and put it here. And then I'll go to OK button, drag and put it here. You see, it's much faster. It's much faster and easier way to write it rather than typing each and every method call. But why do I show that? Because you should understand what is this, what is this, what is this, how did this hierarchy come. That's why we show you this way. Guys, you are able to understand? Any questions? Any questions? Fine. Yeah.
So for tomorrow, the homework is going to be, we have to complete the entire, the way that you started with the first login.
No, entire object repository. I want you to add all the objects in the object repository, but please add it one at a time.
Okay.
So that you are more familiar. See, adding the default object, it's easier, but you'll not understand that. So I want you to add it in one at a time.
Okay. And what about this? You're teaching this, right? So should we also do this tomorrow or no?
You want to do it? Do it. Good. Okay. You want to write the script to log into the application? Write it. Good. Okay.
Okay.
You're getting me?
Can I also go to the next page, or where should I stop?
Just log in. Now what we are going to do next is, I'm going to log into the first. Next, I'm going to teach you record and runtime settings. Okay. So that will cover our class today. Tomorrow we will be seeing how to create date. In order to create date, we have to learn lot more functions in VB script to learn date, how to create the date.
Okay.
This, if you log into the application, let me take this out. So if you log into this application, right, how to create this date is there are ways to create it. But the date format that comes in QTP is different from what it's been putting here, what we want here. So there are certain things that you need to learn in order to put the date here. So just hold on.
Okay.
I know it's pretty exciting to see this, right, and want to work, but I'm going to give you the whole week homework. So you once we finish this date format, then you can do the whole insert order as the whole week homework.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, do we suppose if we, I mean, you can also do that. I mean, do we need VB script all the time to insert date? Because what if there are some other ways directly you can set the date and not using the VB script?
There's no other way you can set the date. How will you set the date here? How will you put the date here?
You can. I mean, I can just use the same thing again and set the date as. Or
if you want to do like this, wait, let me show you object repository.
That's how I showed you last time.
Wait, hold on. Best. Okay. Where is that the one? Wait. Find in this thing. Yeah, master. Yes. Okay. Now here you want to say, put here. In this location we use type. TYPE. Okay. And I want to set the date as 11, 20, 15. No. 11, 20, 15. Okay. Now if I run this, it will work. I'm going to run this step alone. Run step. It's going to work. Nothing wrong in this. It's going to work. The pointer was in a little wrong location. Give me a second. Okay.
The chat. Okay.
It'll work. But tomorrow, say example, today is 20th. Okay. Now this will work. What's today's date? Can you tell me what's today's date? Sorry. 7, right? So if I say 07, sorry, 0. Messed it up, man. Really? Serious? 0715. It will not work. It will not work. Huh? Today is 7th.
Yeah, today is 7.
11, no. This is 11/7/2015, correct?
Yeah.
How is it working? 11/07/15. Strange. Usually it works 1 plus date.
So in the chat box, if you see, I tried in this way.
This won't work. Slash won't work. How are you going to put a slash there? So you should not put a slash.
Okay.
Okay. Now this will work. This is what exactly I did here. Now today it's working. Today 07 is working. Tomorrow are you going to go and change this date again to 08? Huh?
Okay.
Are you going to do that every day? Every day when you are running your script, you are going to go and modify your script every day?
Yes. So yeah, that would need VB script. Yep.
So you can't do that, right? Imagine you have 10 places where you're putting date. Not this application, another application. So before you run, 1 hour it will take for you to go and change all the dates.
Oh yeah.
If you do that, then that is not automation. Then that's manual effort putting it into it, right?
Yes.
So we have to handle everything in the script in such a way that I just click the button and I leave it. It should give me it should work on its own. I should not have any manual intervention there.
Okay.
So every time you're going to give date, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, so that's what I did.
So you have to create it in this format. Now when you use, say, example date, so I have a function called date here, MSG QX. If I run this, yes. I forgot about that. Wait, hold on. It's available in my that exact code. Date should be day. Ah man, what am I typing? Why is this going wrong? I'll put 2 bracket here. Now it will work. It's giving me 7. Okay, that is today is 7th, right?
Yep.
So it's giving me 7. But what is the format you need to put it here?
Month.
07.
Yeah.
Yeah.
07. Yep.
And what is the? What is the format it's giving me? Today's since I changed my date to 2008, 2009. But what is the format? It's giving only last 2 numbers, not the all the 4.
Yes.
So we need to learn a lot in VB script in order to handle such type dates. How to print the date in the format in the application wants. We're going to see that.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions, guys? Fine. The last one what we are going to see today is record and runtime settings. Record and runtime settings. This is a very, very important concept. Now, before you start working with QTP scripting, right? You should know how you are going to run your script. Record, we are not going to use record, so it's not no major use. We'll cover that too. But how are you going to run your script? For that, we should go to, how do we go there? Go to automation, record and runtime settings. Now this controls how you're going to record the application as well as how you're going to run the application, right? Now for web it's different, Windows it's different. You have 2 different tabs, for the tab for web and tab for Windows. Now looking at the web, you have 2 options here. One, record and run test on any open browser. What does this mean? This means that if I have this option open, okay, let me cancel it. Let me take this out. I want to go open a new script. Open a new script. Start. Record runtime settings. Now, if I say record and run on any open browser, that means you have to open the browser and keep. Okay, you have to open the browser and keep. It will not be able to open automatically. If I say this, open the following address, that means you are giving this address. So when I click on record, automatically QTP will open the application for you. Say example, apply. Okay. Now I'll say record. The moment I hit record, you see, it's opening the application for you. If you are in the first option where you say record and run test on any open browser, you have to keep the application open for it. You see, QTP automatically opened the application for you. Now if I go stop it, I'm going to stop it. And I can do my recording, all those stuffs there. Now I want to run the application. Now after doing all the scripting, I want to run it. I want to run this. since no script is recorded, I want to say example, I want to run a script. First, let me record the browser. I'll say will, and I'll say login. So that portion is recorded. I'll go back here and I'll stop the script. Now the same for the browser also, it's exactly the same. You see method, this is the method, and sorry, this is the object and this is the method. Set secure, it is automatically securing. You don't need to do that. I can just put set and I can say will. It's encrypting your password, right? Now if I wanted to say, let me log out and I'm closing the application. Now when I run, I'm in the option 2, right? See guys, I'm in option 2. So when I hit run, it will automatically open the application for me because that URL is already provided. You see, it's launching the application and it will log into the application. You see, it's logging into the application. Same for the, okay, let it stop. Okay, same for the web Windows also. You have the same options for Windows. Windows, it's slightly different because there is no URL there. You have to provide the path. So let's go to Windows. Record and runtime. Application again. Now be careful guys. If you are working with Windows, your web should be in the first option. Otherwise, when you're running it, it will open a web browser as well as it will go and open this. Okay, be careful with that. Now, in this, you have two options again. One is open and play with whatever is opened, or provide the path. So go click on this plus and provide the path. How do you get the path? Right click on down. You can see the flight symbol. Right click on that. Go to properties. And this is the path target. Remove, don't copy the codes. Just copy this path and put it here. Don't touch the working folder. Leave it as it is. Don't touch anything. Click OK. That gets added here. Apply. OK. Now if I run this script, imagine I'm running this script only. Okay. I'm running the web script. And if I don't have my web, I have said record and play on any open browser. And my Windows, I am giving this location. You see what happens. That's why you have to be very careful. Oh my God, I click cancel. Hold on. Did it get applied? Yeah, it got applied. Okay, fine. Now if I run this, it won't open a web browser. It's going to launch my flight reservation application, you see. You see? So you have to be very careful when you are using this. Okay. You have to be very careful when you are using this. So in order to run this, so I have put, so now I want to run the web application. So I'll go to this thing, I'll select the first option so that it doesn't launch that. In the web, I have selected the first option, record and run on open browser, apply. Now what I have to do, I have to go and open that browser and open that application and keep it ready for the tool. I'll go here, start. So I'm going to start the application. So the application will launch. I have to keep it in this place for the application for the QTP to understand that. Now if I run, okay. See, it's picking up. Now, do we use this record and runtime settings? No. I'm not going to use this record and runtime settings because when, say, example, you created a script and giving it to another person to run the script, are you going to tell him that, go to record and runtime settings and make this change, this change, this change? No, I'm not going to sell all these things. So, in my record and runtime settings during your day-to-day job, you'll keep this first option, you'll keep this first option. Okay? Everything in first option. Now, So in that case, you have to have your application open, right? Are you going to tell in the script prerequisite, open the application and keep it in this position, Are you going to say that? No, you're not going to say that also. You're going to handle that in the script. How do you handle that in the script? What I will do, I have two ways to do it. Web is slightly different from the Windows-based application. So first we will see web and then we'll go to the Windows-based application. So here, what I did, I'm going to say system util dot run. This is the function which will allow you to launch the application. Now this function, what it does, it basically goes to your system 32 and launches the application. Now in your web browser, there are two-step process in your web browser. Correct? What is the two-step process? Can anyone tell me what are the two-step process in your web browser compared to application? Anyone knows? Any guess? To open an application. Yeah. Wait, hold on. Yeah.
Open the browser.
Open the browser.
And open the URL.
So those are two-step process, right? While in the Windows, you directly open the application, correct?
Yes.
So when you're opening a browser, the function for the Windows and the browser is the same, but you'll put two steps here. Step 1, I want to open explore.exe. This is for opening the Internet Explorer.
Right.
Comma. Now I will put the URL. I'll copy the URL and I'll put it here. Now let's close this application. Now even though my runtime settings is, you see here, my record and runtime settings for the web is same, open and play on any browser, that is record and run on any open browser. So what we are going to do, we are going to open up the browser for the script to work and then it will work, you see. Let's run this. First it launched the browser and it launched the application. So the two steps is completed. Now we see it logged in. So this is how you are going to handle in your script. You are not going to tell the second person who is going to run the script, if in case anyone else is running the script, you are not going to put a comment here, go to record and runtime settings and change this option and all. By default, the option is record and run on any open browser for web. And for Windows, record and run on any open web-based, Windows-based application. This is the default setting. So we're going to keep it in the default setting. We're not going to ask anyone to go change the setting at all. We're going to handle it here. Now, what is the difference between Windows and web? We saw web. For the Windows, same function, system. Let me, hold on. Let me come in, there's some noise coming up. Yeah. System util dot run, and here I don't have the two-step process, so I'm going to skip opening the browser and I will say open quotes, right click on the tool. If you don't find the, if you see where my mouse is at the bottom, if you don't find this flight, this thing, go to programs, QTP, Quick Test Professional, sample applications. Here is the flight. Don't click on this. Highlight this, move the mouse so that it highlights, and right click on this and go to properties. Now you see this. Usually what I do, I copy with the quotes. And I will put it here with the quotes, here like this. Now let me run this step. I'm going to run this step only. You see, it launched the application. So one thing we should understand is we will not go and modify any setting in our script, or sorry, in our QTP. If you change the settings, then you have to tell in your script prerequisite, go do all these setting changes. That's not going to happen. You're not going to make manual intervention before you run your script. No. If I do my script and I give it to you, all you will do is click the run button. That's all. You won't do anything other than that. Just click the run button, nothing else. So this is how you handle your application. Guys, you are able to get me? This is what is runtime's record and runtime settings. We are not going to use record and runtime settings. We are only going to handle that in our script only. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Perfect. So fine. So tomorrow I want you guys to record all the or capture all the object repository, the entire application object repository. Okay. If you have more time and you want to do for the web, I'll quickly show you for the web also. Yeah.
Rajesh, will it work only on the Internet Explorer or can we use any browser?
QTP works only on 2 browsers.
Okay.
Internet Explorer and Firefox.
Okay.
You cannot record on any other browser other than these 2 browsers.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So for Firefox, how we have to give just firefox.exe?
Firefox.exe.
Okay.
Or if you don't know, go to go to Start, Programs, all applications. I don't have Firefox with me.
Okay.
Say example, I have Internet Explorer, right? Right click on this, you will see open file location.
Okay.
Okay, it will show open where this particular file is located, not this. This is accessories. You got to go to the system 32 where you have installed it. You'll get that exe file. Go to programs. This I hate this here. Windows. Where is this program? No, program files. Where have you installed your system 32? Sorry, where have you installed your Firefox, right?
Okay, we have to go there.
We have to go there and give the path.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
Since I explore, right? Internet Explorer is already a part of your Windows.
Yeah.
That's why I explore will work.
Okay.
So you see the same thing. If you go to start run, say example, you go to start run and type I explore. IEXPLORE explore.exe. You see, it will open Internet Explorer. See?
Yeah.
Now, how do you start Firefox? You need to see that.
Okay.
So Firefox does not have a shortcut like this because it's not a part of your this one, right?
Yeah.
What do you say? It's not a part of your Windows, so it's a separate application. So you might have to give the path like how we gave the path here, no? Give the path here for Firefox.
So mostly we work on only Internet Explorer?
99.99% you will work on Internet Explorer.
Okay.
You will not work on Firefox. You will only work on Internet Explorer.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions? Okay. Just the last one. If you guys want to work on this, say example, if you guys want to work on Sugar CRM object repository, a slight difference in the in capturing the object repository for Windows-based application compared to the web-based application. Let me show you. Object Repository Manager. Now here, in the Windows-based application, what happens is you just go click on the, say if I wanted to add this object, I'll just click on add object and click on the edit box. It will automatically understand this, right? You see, Win edit, page and name. But in the web browser, if I go click on the edit box, it will not you see it's coming something else, web element. It's not an element, it's a text box, right? It should come as web edit. So In order to understand this, what we need to do, go here, add object, and go slightly above the script. You see here where I'm clicking at 3 to 4 mm above the text box, slightly above the text box. Click on that. You see, when edit username. How do you identify that? Use the objects by. Go to objects by. Now I click on control in order to move this away from where I want. Okay. Now here, you see, when I highlight this, it's not coming as an element. Slightly above, you see it's coming as text box, right? And you see the HTML ID is username. So it's located slightly above the object rather than on the object. That is what is the difference between web and Windows-based application. So in my object repository, if I want to add username, I'll click slightly above the text box, and you see here edit box has come. I'll say OK. Next I'll add this. Slightly above the password, I'll click. Here password has come. In order to add the login, I'll click above the login, not on the login, above the login, outside the login. You see, when button. That's how I have to add. If you don't want to do this, let's do the other method. I'm going to delete this. Let's do the other method. But the other method, if you have lot of objects, in the next page will do. If I do here, click on add object. I'm going to click on the browser. Clicking on the page doesn't work. You have to click on the browser. That is on the blue bar. Browser. Or say example, don't worry. If you're not able to click on the browser, it's difficult. Click anywhere on the page. Okay. And select the browser. The object that you select only will get added. So select the browser, click OK. Now this pop-up will come because it's finding lot of information below. I will not go add default objects. If you add default objects, yeah, you can add the default objects, or you can specify what objects you want. You see default objects, so many objects are there. You see, it's not that great. I didn't like the default object, so I want to add specific objects. So I'll say add object, click on the page. I'll say I want it for the browser. I'll say OK. Selected objects. What all objects I have? I know there is a 2 text box and 1 button. So I'll say go here. Why did it not come? Did I select the page or the browser? Cancel. Wait, hold on. Browser. OK. Selected object. Select. I shall see edit box. You open the edit box, expand the edit box, you will see web edit here. I don't need everything, right? I just need the web edit. Then I want the button. I'll open the button. I'll say web button. Where is web button? Here, web button. So I'll remove this and I'll add only web button. That's all is there. Edit and button, right? Okay. Okay. You see, some things are here which you don't want, you can delete it off, but all your buttons have got added. There are hidden, you see these are all hidden, it would come in options. If you open the options, these are all things that got added also. Fine, you don't want. Now these are all things that got added. You can use this and do that. But if I am going into my this one, and I'm going into login. I cannot use the default option or select option to click on this link. This is a link, right? If I select link, all these links will get added. So at this point, you have to use the add object. I'll go here. I'll click slightly above the link, above the text. It should say. Now you see it's selected element, but here is the link. You see, it went to the link and into the element. So I'll select the link and I'll click OK. That link will get added. You see, the link got added. If you want to verify, highlight in application. You see, it's highlighting. So you have to, adding this is slightly tricky. Adding object repository to web element is slightly tricky. You have to be patient enough. Adding this logout will really test your patience. Okay. If I click on slightly above logout, you see it won't add only. You have it's going to really take your patience out. So you should know which location to click on